All right, folks, welcome back. So in the last section, Jubilee and I showed you how to move shoulders to the outside. In this segment, I want to show you how to start moving the shoulders to the inside using a direct rein, okay? And again, what I mean by a direct rein is I'm going to be connecting, say, my right rein to Jubilee's right front shoulder, left rein to the left front shoulder, okay? Now, as we go about this, keep in mind the clock analogy that we used with 12 straight ahead, 1, 11, etc., etc. And as we go about this, also remember this is going to be a one rein exercise with one leg cue. And that leg cue is simply to squeeze evenly with both legs to ask your horse to speed up or go forward. Okay, just keep it moving. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get right smack into the middle of this. First thing I'm going to do is get Jubilee walking on a circle to the left here. And as I go around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up on my left rein and I'm going to ask Jubilee's left front foot just to kind of step forward and off to the side just a little bit onto 11 o'clock. So I should just feel just a barely noticeable change in speed and a step over to the side, okay? Almost just a little hesitation forward. Same thing here to the right. I'm going to go ahead and pick up on the right rein, and I'm just going to ask Jubilee's right front foot to step on 1 o'clock, so I want to feel just a little hesitation and her step over to the side. Wake up, Jubilee. Perfect. And to the left. 11 o'clock. Excellent. And 11 o'clock. And just like before, if you're having trouble figuring out whether or not your horse is actually making the step to the correct step, just ask yourself, is my horse starting to make the circle smaller? Okay? And if so, then you're on the right track, okay? So just keep it simple. Notice too that I'm using more of a baby give for this, okay? Because I just want a gradual move over to the side. So I don't have to bend her head very far. Remember, anytime you bend the head, the more you bend the head to the side, the more decrease in forward motion you're going to get from your horse, okay? So the more you bend the head and the neck, the more you're actually prohibiting movement. I don't want to do that. I want a nice forward flow and just a little step to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and use a baby give for this, all right? So again, now you're starting to see where these baby give, good give, and great give come in. All right, so moving on, I'm just going to keep practicing until I feel like Jubilee's consistent. If at any time your horse is getting too slow and you're not getting the forward motion, go ahead. Don't be afraid to squeeze with those legs, roll your spurs, get a dressage whip if you need. You know, give them a little tap on the shorts and speed them up. Perfect. Now I'm just going to play around with that, stepping on 1 and stepping on 11. You can do it to one side or the other. You know, you can work on 1 until it's consistent and then go to 11 and work on it until it's consistent, or you can mix them up however you want to do it. Doesn't matter. You know, but once I have all that consistent, just like before, then I'm going to start asking for a little deeper give to the side or a little bit bigger step. And again, just like before, what that should feel like is if I'm stepping on 2 or 10, I want to feel a very noticeable decrease in forward motion and that leg to step a little deeper to the side, okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So as I walk Jubilee forward, I'm going to say, hey, I need you to step on 2 now. And until I feel that big decrease in forward motion and her stepping on 2, I'm not going to release my rein. But it's kind of a little tricky here because if you start losing too much momentum, then they don't have enough leg speed to carry them through the turn, okay? So it starts to become a little bit of a balancing act, but don't worry, you'll get it, and so will your horse. And step on 10. Notice too that I brought Jubilee's head a little further to the side in more of a good give. So that's going to decrease that forward motion and help me. Beautiful. That's really nice. Very nice, okay? And again, you're just going to play with that until you got it consistent. And then finally, to cap everything off here, you guessed it. Now I'm going to go to working on 3 and 9, okay? So again, just like before, I want all forward motion to stop, And if I pick up on my right rein, I want the right leg to step directly to the side. Again, there should be no complete stop in there. I just want all forward motion to cease and for that leg to step straight to the side, okay? Do not allow a gap in there. That will kill what you're trying to do, okay? So what that will look like, get her going here. So I'm gonna bring Jubilee's head more into a great give, so like 90 degrees from her body. I want all forward motion to stop. Doesn't mean she stops. And wait. And as soon as I feel that right front leg step over to the right, then I go ahead and release my rein, okay? Same thing to the left here. All forward motion needs to stop right there and release. All forward motion needs to stop and release. And again, I don't care what the rest of the horse is doing. I just want that one body part, that Q spot, to move in the direction I ask. Perfect. If at any time you feel like your horse is going to come to a complete stop, just go ahead and squeeze with those legs while you maintain that rein and make sure they keep moving. Now, right there was a great example of something that's really common with a lot of horses, and that is I picked up on the right rein. I had Jubilee kind of in a good give, great give, kind of in between there, and she was just sort of walking through it and walking forward. So with every step she took, I just gradually brought that bend back to a great give and sort of shut that forward motion down a little bit. Okay, and I was squeezing with my legs right there. So that's a great example of, as you go through this, especially the more experienced your horse gets, you may not have to bend your horse as much to, say, get a step on 3 and 9, especially once they start understanding the program a little bit and start kind of reading your skeleton and your body language a little bit. And what you'll find is you only have to bring them over to usually about a good give before they just shut it down and make that step, all right? But then what happens is your horse starts getting lazy. They start getting a little complacent, just like Jubilee was doing here. And she was like, okay, I'm going to kind of make the step. But she was still kind of walking forward and not really shutting it down and making the step. Great example of the more bend that you have to the head, the more you're prohibiting forward motion, okay? So if you find your horse is walking through your hand, just keep bringing the head around, okay? All else fails, abort trying to get them to make the step, go back, get a good give or a great give, and get that hind quarter around and say, hey, I need you to stop, okay? You know, again, this is something that, you know, you may spend a couple of days on, you may spend a week on, you know, who knows? Just go out and have fun with it. You know, I'm always harping on people, just go enjoy your horse. They don't have to be trained tomorrow. All right, so I hope this helps, folks, and we'll see you next time.